Welcome to Pax Europiana here from Vienna. I would like to welcome you here as an important monument. This is of Vuk Karadžić. Yeah? He was one of the greatest philosophers and poets of the Serbian language, and he lived here in Vienna. He died in 1864. He was married to an Austrian, and he is here with a monument, and he was also buried in Vienna, but he was buried in Belgrade, and he is in generally seen as the most important Serbian philosopher and the father of the Serbian language. And I want to make this video because of this friendship for European Serbia, which I feel. I'm very much connected with European Serbia, and I hope that European Serbia will be. Unfortunately, it's not. The idea of a normal European country, far from nationalism and brutality, is unfortunately still today. In the 2nd of August, I make this video, 2nd of August 2022. Unfortunately, Serbia has threatened again war against Kosovo. And that's a big tragedy, and that's really very, very unfair what is happening. And I'm very disappointed that the so-called European Serbian president, Mr. Vučić, who claims to be a European, is using this kind of minor questions for escalation. And that's very disappointing. And I call for peace, and peace based on mutual recognition. Because also Vuk Karadžić, he was happy here in Austria, and he was here because he was in safety from the Ottoman Empire. And of course we were together to fight against the Ottoman Empire. But it was never meant to fight the Ottoman Empire and to liberate the rest of the Balkans as a license to commit genocide and brutality and ethnic cleansing. No, 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 no. This is not the plan. And if Mr. Vučić thinks that he can reconquer or change the borders, the reality, or continue this policy of rejecting the reality of the Republic of Kosovo, which we recognized out of the results of the genocidal war of Mr. Milosevic, then he is completely wrong. And I pledge it here on this monument of Vuk Karadžić, that I'm absolutely not willing to tolerate this kind of extreme nationalism anymore. I mean, this is not possible. And it's absolutely disgusting what Mr. Vučić does. That now a lot of people in Austria have seemingly swallowed the narrative of Mr. Vučić that he was provoked. I mean, it's the next thing is that Putin was provoked to attack Ukraine. Please, Kosovo is an international recognized country by Austria. All Austrians should also accept that. If some Serbian journalists have some other ideas, or because of their ethnicity or their links to Serbia, then please, this is not the Austrian policy. It's an international recognized country which has the right to also ask its citizens and its residents for residence papers and to end this humiliating change of number plates which Serbia is imposing on Kosovo. And now the reciprocity, it's just a normal policy. It's also not the case that we in Austria have to change our number plates when we cross via Germany into Western Austria. I cannot understand that policy. And we certainly cannot accept what there is the reality. And we have accepted it for too long, and then when now I'm politically not connected to Mr. Kurti at all. He is a center-left-wing student leader. I was my whole life conservative, libertarian, liberal, whatever. And but he is first of all good governance. Secondly, he is now very pro-American. And thirdly, he wants to lead his country into NATO. And he is a good governance person who just, responds to the legitimate political demands of his population that they want to move really as Europeans. And that's a very normal thing. And it's time to allow this free movement. That means free movement of goods, free movement of people. And of course also for the Kosovo Serbs, absolutely, but nobody hinders them. Just, when they move, when this is the policy of Serbia to impose this change of number plates on the Kosovo drivers, then it's absolutely legitimate to ask the same as well from the Serb drivers when they come. Because states work on the basis of legitimacy and reciprocity. And if this is not happening, that's absolutely wrong. And so I think in the name of this friendship and of the great philosophers and also of our past and future cooperation. And I want to remind Mr. Lukashenko has made it very clear today that Serbia has to choose. And I agree with him. The first time in my 30 years of political activities, I fully agree with Mr. Lukashenko. Serbia has to agree, has to decide. Are you with Russia and Belarus? You can form an alliance and goodbye. But then give us back the money and we stop the cooperation. And you will never join the European Union. Or you are with the West and then recognize Kosovo and behave decently. It's very simple. It's very clear. And absolutely Vuk Karadžić is with us. Because he was not a genocidal guy. And if he would be, then I would call for the removal of his monument. Because when, I don't hope even that Mr. Ivo Andrić was for genocide. But if he was, then I will be for sure against any monuments of people advocating genocide. But I'm always ready, to argue for other military confrontation with Serbia. Because if they start then to attack our boys, because it's our Austrian guys who are securing via KFOR Bosnia and Kosovo. Even when we are not in NATO, which is a big mistake, and we should, and Kosovo should, and Bosnia, it's our Austrian soldiers who put the main contingent into Bosnia and in Kosovo, and our guys which have to fight the Serbian attackers if they attack. And if they attack, I will be the first one to call the Americans and the Italians and the Germans to strike Belgrade very hard. Again, like in 1999. And that will be the case within hours. So that is also very justified, because that's the defense system of NATO alliance. And if the Serbs don't want to join, they are on the other side. And they will never join as well the EU. And they can join Belarus and emigrate to Russia. But we should also ask all the Serbs who live in Austria for a loyalty test, if they are really ready for being Austrian citizens. They should come here and say no to genocide, regret the sins of the past, and also recognize Kosovo, as we as Austrian state and society have done. And if they are not ready, then please, you can always migrate to Belarus or to Russia. Then look for soldiers a lot. You can earn a lot of money. You won't live a long time because the HIMARS, they will kill you. And if that's the choice, it's all free. But I don't want to sound cynical, but I'm really loss of patience and understanding for this extremism of the Serb nationalists. Yes, I will also go now. This is not the moment for the installation. I have here the Kosovo flag, and I will also, Mr. Vuk Karadžić would have certainly approved of the independence of new nation, because his work has led to the independence of Serbia. And I'm sure he is also for the independence of the Republic of Kosovo, if he would be alive, because he was a decent philosopher. And I will now go to the Serbian embassy and make another protest, but that time with the flag, because there's the best location for that. Thanks a lot, and please, in the name of our joint heritage, Vuk Karadžić and the Austrian-Serbian alliance of the past, I call all the Serbs to return to Europe and to join NATO, the Euro, recognize Kosovo, break with Russia, close their airspace, adopt the EU sanctions against Russia, and regret their genocidal past, and be ready for a joint European future. Thanks a lot for European Serbia, here from Vienna. Bye.